I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. We want to talk about something very important to all of us Americans, the bankruptcy of our nation. It's the title of a new book by Jerry Robinson, and we have Jerry and Gary Stearman here in the studio today. Gary, introduce our guest.
Thanks, J.R. Be glad to. Jerry Robinson, president of Jerry Robbins Ministries International, has written a book called The Bankruptcy of Our Nation. And not only is it a very clear presentation of what's happening in the economy, it's written so that you can understand it, but it also has some strategies you can follow. And Jerry, let's open up with page 18 of your book, which has a little heading here, An Illusion of Prosperity. And you open with this idea that America has been under a kind of a grand illusion lately.
I think that's been very clear. Many people have realized that what they thought they could put their hope and faith and trust into actually has fizzled right before their eyes. And so it's been a very rude awakening. Many of the philosophies that we've adhered to for so long have broken down right before our eyes. So the illusion of prosperity we talk about in the book is to help people understand that what we've seen over the last several years, I often equate to a balloon or to a bubble. And many of us have lived inside of that bubble. It's been manufactured by government and by debt and by fiat currencies. And God has basically come down and popped that bubble. And actually, when we say God, we should probably simply say that our own excesses have led to it. But God has actually watched this happen. He's told us it would happen. Men cannot rule men. Human institutions fail. And this bubble pops, and people are amazed. People are, hands are on the cheeks that men's kingdoms could fail.
Yeah, well, the Bible tells us that just before Christ comes to establish the kingdom, the world is going to fall into the grips of an antichrist system and a one world currency with the mark in the flesh of the right hand or the forehead before people can buy or sell. That's an economic system. To have that worldwide system, the currencies and the economies of every nation has to fail.
That's exactly right. And as an economist, as I sit here and watch all this, I can tell you that it seems as if the governments of this world are shepherding us towards the edge. And people who are watching the news now can even see that. But for years, we've seen bad policy after bad policy after bad policy. We have debt and we have cheap money, and that's been our problem. And the government is treating the problem with more of the same, debt and cheap money. And so it almost appears as if they want to shepherd us off the cliff. Either A, they're completely ignorant, or B, they're mischievous. And the Bible indicates that they're mischievous. So this may be where we're heading.
Wow. You know, this book closes on a bright note. People, I think, are in a state of anxiety today. I know that the daily news does not produce great confidence. Your book ends with 12 key strategies for protecting your finances in our uncertain times. Lump those together. What kind of strategies?
Well, and again, I'm glad you brought up the hope factor, because this book does mention all the problems, but it also mentions the hope. If we're Christians, this is a great time to be alive. What an honor to be living in these last days. And as Christians, we need to have key strategies in place. We need to know exactly what's happening so we can properly prepare. We need to be wise. So one of the things we can do in the book, we're going to look through these 12 key strategies. After they purchase the book, they'll see this. And one of the things they can do, obviously, is save more money. We recommend that they save 15% money. But then people often say, well, if there's going to be massive inflation, why are you telling people to save U.S. dollars? Well, we're not. We're actually telling them to diversify their savings. So diversify, not just holding the U.S. dollar, but holding other currencies as well, and other forms of money. And then we also talk about paying off high interest debt. Very important. People know they need to pay off their debt, but especially high interest debt. And be sure that if you have to hold debt, hold it in a fixed manner, because we believe interest rates are going to go sky high. They're nearly zero right now at the Federal Reserve. They can't be sustained there. They're going to have to go much higher. And those who don't have fixed debt are going to be very hurt in the years ahead. So fixed debt is a very good thing to be doing.
One of the suggestions I thought that was great is you need to have a group. You need to have a fellowship of people in whom you can trust, if you will, prayer partners. Speak a little about that.
Well, America is a very individualistic, rugged nation. We pride ourselves on that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's going to have to happen in the future as the economy continues to break down, because it's not going to get better from here, it gets worse, that people need to band together. They're going to simply have to. And what a great opportunity for Christians to get more of a community of faith happening, even in their own neighborhoods. I was convicted the other day as I was driving home as I was writing this book. I was convicted because I was driving down my own street, and I looked at the houses around me, and I said, I don't know many of these people. No, I don't know their names. They don't know my name. But I know all these different people on the other side of town in this building that I call a church. So I know all these people, my own neighbors I don't know. So I think this is kind of a return to knocking on the door of a neighbor and saying, we want to have dinner tonight, or updating our Rolodex and re-identifying with the fact that we need to build a community. They'll be the greatest asset in time of trouble, friends and family that we can turn to.
Fascinating. Well, I want you to get this book. It's a crash course on money, Bankruptcy of Our Nation by Jerry Robinson. You can call the phone number at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-475-1111, or you can order it right off of our website here. Just look for it. It's there, and you can get it from us. I'm J.R. Church, Gary Stearman, and our guest, Jerry Robinson. We'll see you again next time with our analysis of the news.